Tom King's Batman looked like it was heading the right direction the final 4 pages of issue 74. Turns out, it was fake news. As they say, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. Alright, I've been trying my hardest to review Tom King's Batman series as seriously as all my other comic review videos, but boy does King try me. If you enjoy my normal review style, this might not be the video for you. I'm about to dive headfirst into an ocean of salt. If you don't want to hear me agitated or talk negative about Tom King and DC Comics, you should end the video now. You've been warned. I honestly try not to use satire or mocking often on the channel anymore, but Batman 76 is such a trash book. It's obvious King and DC's editorial staff don't care about ensuring they provide quality stories. Is this issue as bad as Batman 68? Hell no. That's one of the worst comics I've ever read in my life, but this isn't much better. Batman 76 features virtually no story progression from the much-hyped City of Bane arc. You know that big story King guaranteed would wipe away all the ill will towards him and DC following the wedding? The second chapter in City of Bane is complete filler. Basically just a recap of everything we already know that was never explained. In all honesty, Real Housewives of Whatever have better plots than Batman 76. Why, you ask? Because Tom King and DC Comics actually forgot, or maybe couldn't have been bothered, to create one. At the end of Batman 75, villains run the streets of Gotham under the rule of Bane. How did this happen? Not really sure. Tom King didn't think that was very important. Bruce Wayne climbed a Himalayan mountain only to have his throat slit by a couple random teenagers. How did he get there after last being seen falling into a Lazarus pit? Never explained. Selina Kyle arrived to save him. Why was she on the summit of a mountain in Asia? Who knows? Flashpoint Batman now patrols the streets of Gotham with sidekick Gotham Girl. Where's she been all this time? Good question. How did Flashpoint Batman arrive in Gotham after also falling into the Lazarus pit? Honestly, not sure. At the end of this review, I'll bet you'll also notice that virtually nothing changes from the end of Batman 75. The art in this book is absolutely fantastic. It's such a waste of Tony Dano's abilities, but that's so common in DC Comics nowadays, it's hardly noteworthy. What is noteworthy is the absolute dismantling of Captain Atom's reputation and legacy at the hands of Tom King this week. I'm not the biggest Captain Atom mark in the world, but the character was created in the 60s by Joe Gill and Spider-Man co-creator Steve Ditko, the industry legend who just passed away not too long ago. As you're about to see, Tom King and DC Comics have no respect for visionaries like Gill and Ditko, who helped create the very industry feeding their families. I guess I should talk about what tiny bit of story exists here. By orders of the President, superheroes are forbidden from entering Gotham. Captain Atom knows this order isn't worth following and is met by Gotham Girl. He gives her a fairly okay speech, damn good by King's current standards, and she tells him to hit the bricks. He then asks her if she knows who he is. Gotham Girl answers, not really, making the very powerful Captain Atom look like a complete jabroni, before launching him in the sky with an uppercut. This seems like an extreme abuse of Ditko's creation, but King's treatment of Captain Atom only gets worse from here. And I don't mean a little worse, I mean a lot worse. Kite Man, Scarecrow, and Tweedledee and Dum are on the run from Flashpoint Batman, who's rounding up villains and feeding them to King's favorite obscure MacGuffin, Psycho Pirate, which was already established last issue. They even mentioned being in Arkham Asylum was a better fate than the current state of Gotham. Flashpoint Batman arrives, killing one of the Tweedles with his hand cannon. The survivors jump from a window, but Kite Man can only save Scarecrow. Rest in peace, Tweedles. Although it later appears the brothers survive their encounter with Flashpoint Batman and are on their way to meet Psycho MacGuffin. Now back to King's character assassination. Gotham Girl obliterates Captain Atom, but never needs to exert herself enough to stop talking massive amounts of smack during the beating, mocking the character's legacy and history. She offers to hand him over to Psycho Pirate for reconditioning. Flashpoint laughs and says the agreement is they hand villains over to Bane and heroes get expelled from Gotham. She promptly tosses him on his candy ass, further cementing his new legacy as a worthless hero who can't defend himself. The destruction of Captain Atom is only used to elevate King's very own lame creation, Gotham Girl. Kite Man and Scarecrow retreat back to the Kite quarters and talk about how scared they are. They again lament that they're being hunted down by Flashpoint Batman so they can be turned into mindless slaves, which we already knew last issue. Kite Man feels pretty sorry for himself and doesn't think using kites to rob people should condemn him to the same fate as Batman's rogues gallery. Yada yada yada. Now on to the coup de grace of legendary Steve Ditko's creation. Captain Atom, a very, very powerful superhero, is tethered to a hospital bed and literally cries about the pounding he just received. Through his grotesquely deformed lips, he mentions he fought with the League against everyone, but he's never, ever faced anyone as powerful as Gotham Girl, Tom King's only new creation during his entire 3-year, 78-issue run on Batman. He admits after the molly-whopping he took, he's done as a superhero. Yes, Tom King's Gotham Girl beat Steve Ditko's Captain Atom so severely he lies in bed and cries in front of Tim Drake, finally giving up his mission as a superhero. Tom King thinks he's elevated Gotham Girl and made her feel powerful, but in reality, he's only destroyed Captain Atom, a creation of Steve Ditko, not his. Get out of here, Tom King! But don't worry, Captain Atom's scalp isn't the only one King hands to Gotham Girl. Check out this little doozy. Tim Drake and Damian Wayne meet on a rooftop overlooking Gotham City. Tim Drake says Captain Atom is a level 4 meta who could take Superman. That's right. Tom King implies through Tim Drake Robin, Gotham Girl can easily defeat Superman. By the time Bendis and King are done destroying Clark Kent, he's going to need to tuck his junk to play the part appropriately. Go to hell already, Tom King. Damian and Tim then mention Alfred is being held prisoner and in grave danger, which we already knew from issue 75. Tim Drake then declares Bane broke their father, and Damian literally kicks rocks. I almost forgot, Bruce Wayne was a part of the Batman universe. Don't worry, he's got a huge role in this book. Bruce and Selina are now holed up in Paris. How the hell did Selina get an unconscious 250-pound man with a gash in his jugular from the Himalayas? Maybe King will explain this when the time is right. For him. Selina is stealing high-end paintings to fund Bruce's recovery and their hideout. And that's basically the extent Bruce Wayne plays in this issue of Batman. The only new information provided this issue is Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle are in Paris. What else was new? Damian and Tim are sitting at the gates of Gotham, about to enter the city. The only thing else that happens of note is the complete annihilation of Captain Atom at the hands of Gotham Girl. But we already knew heroes weren't allowed to enter Gotham, so that was kind of pointless. So who deserves blame for this complete waste of time, trees, and octopi? I don't fully blame Tom King for the issues in Batman 76, but I fully absolve artist Tony Daniels from any culpability. I'm certain he had no input, despite being an accomplished writer in his own right. But this is a collaborative creative effort. Editor Jamie S. Ridge and associate editor Rob Levin both need to be held to task for this garbage as well. As far as I'm concerned, they're both complicit in creating a plotless story with virtually no point other than the complete destruction of Steve Ditko's Captain Atom. I see Jamie's name on quite a few garbage comics published by DC these days, so it's no real surprise. DC Comics is quickly becoming the new Marvel, folks. Whatever. Tom King's Batman looked like it was heading the right direction the final 4 pages of issue 74. Turns out, it was fake news. As they say, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. Batman is still a dumpster fire of King and DC editorial staff's making. Batman 76 has no plot. It's just some random scenes thrown together to end King's run on issue 85 rather than 84. Everyone at DC Comics should feel embarrassed for the way they've allowed Batman, a character not a single person currently at DC had a finger in creating, to be wrecked. Now they've destroyed the creation of a recently fallen legend. I wish I could say I can't believe it's gotten to this, but Tom King's writing has been incoherent, new age hipster garbage for over a year now. As a wise man once said, Tom King thinks he's Alan Moore, but he's really Kelly Thompson. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.